The first time I saw the smoke, I thought my eyes were lying to me. I'd fought fires for 3 decades, crawled through collapsed roofs, dragged men out of burning stairwells, but nothing prepared me for watching my own cornfield, the one my brother left me when he passed, go up in flames. And the worst part? My neighbor, Karen Denton, was standing at the fence line, arms crossed, sunglasses on, like she was watching a backyard barbecue instead of a felony. I slammed the truck into park before I even cleared the drive lungs burning from the black haze curling over the east field. I shouted at her, asked if she'd called 911. She didn't even flinch, just lifted her glasses and said, "Isn't that your job?" After all, it's your mess. That was the moment I knew this wasn't an accident, and she wasn't going to stop until she erased me from this land. I grabbed my old radio from the glove box, same one I carried as fire captain years ago, and called it in myself. Old habits never die, not when flames are racing through dry rows you've tended with your own hands. By the time the engines roared down my gravel drive, the fire had chewed through 50 yards of corn. I worked beside them like I was still on the job, shouting wind directions, pointing out propane tanks, digging in my heels while my chest felt hollow. And through the blur of heat and chaos, Karen slipped back inside her shiny Lexus and disappeared. When the smoke cleared, I found the first clue. A melted canister near the fence, the kind you buy for backyard fire pits, not farm work. It wasn't mine. I bagged it, photographed the scorch marks, followed the burned trail that led straight to Karen's hydrangeas. The guys on the crew saw it too, their helmets tilted toward the HOA's side. That quiet murmur between firefighters said it all. This didn't start in my field. But here's the thing, I didn't always hate Karen. When she first moved in, she showed up with lemon bars and a smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. I should have seen it then, the hunger for control. It started small letters from the HOA about tractor noise odor complaints from my compost bin, even one about a chicken scaring a neighbor's kid. I brushed it off. My land had been here for generations, long before their cul-de-sacs and 2-car garages. But Karen wasn't the type to get bored. She was the type to escalate. Declining her beautification initiative was the turning point. She wanted me to rip out rows of corn along the HOA fence line, plant hedges instead. I told her no, this wasn't a hobby farm, it was my livelihood. That's when the letters became weekly, the whispers louder. People crossed the street when they passed my gate. The HOA newsletter ran a blurry photo of my barn warning about outdated agricultural practices. Then came vandalism pink paint on my mailbox with the word scab in dripping letters, trash dumped into my irrigation ditch. It wasn't just HOA nuisance anymore. It was personal. I kept telling myself to endure, to honor my brother's wish and keep the land whole. But the night of the fire, staring at those charred stalks, I'll admit I broke. Sitting on my porch with my dog Copper at my feet, the smell of smoke in my hair, I thought maybe Karen had won. Maybe I was the fool clinging to dirt in a world that wanted neat lawns and matching shutters. For a moment, I actually wondered if I should sell out, let them swallow this farm, and walk away. Then, I opened the safe behind my pantry and pulled out the footage from the hidden thermal cam inside my scarecrow. My niece had named him Sarge, dressed him in my old fire captain's hat as a joke. That night, Sarge wasn't laughing. He'd caught it all, a figure in a red windbreaker crawling through a gap in the fence at 2:13 a.m., crouching low, sparks dancing in their hands. 12 minutes of methodical fire setting, then walking calmly back through the fence. The stride, the tilt of the head, I knew it. Karen. Doubt turned to fire in my chest hotter than the one she'd lit. I called my lawyer McGree, a retired jag who hated bullies as much as I did. He told me to stay quiet, let the investigators do their job. Patience isn't my strong suit, but I listened. Fire Marshal Polk came out the next day, collected the evidence, traced the accelerant trail right back under Karen's fence. The look in his eyes told me what I already knew: this wasn't neighbor drama anymore. This was criminal arson. I'd like to tell you Karen backed down, but no. The second blaze came 2 nights later. Copper woke me with a growl I hadn't heard since his pup days. I opened the window and saw the flicker orange and angry, too tall, too fast. I called 911 and Polk at the same time, yanking hoses, sweat already soaking my shirt. When the fire crews arrived, they found more canisters, ignition devices wrapped in duct tape, and a trail that glowed under UV light leading straight to Karen's backyard. And then, it happened, the moment I'll never forget. At 3:15 a.m., firefighters and investigators knocked on Karen's door. I stood 50 yards away, arms crossed, watching. She opened it in a red robe, mascara streaked like she'd been crying or pretending to. When they showed her the melted canister, her voice cracked. "That's not mine. I threw it away last week. The neighbors heard it, some even filmed it." Her panic was louder than any confession. Word spread fast. A 15-second clip from Sarge's thermal camera leaked online showing her lighting the fires. Anyone who'd ever seen her march into an HOA meeting knew that stride. By the time the sun rose, the HOA board scrambled. Rick, the treasurer, admitted she'd pressured them to file false complaints. Dana, her sidekick, couldn't even look me in the eye. And the president, Bernard, called an emergency meeting to suspend her pending investigation. But I wasn't done. I filed a civil suit against Karen and the HOA. Court was brutal. Her lawyer painted me as a bitter recluse who hated community standards. McGree countered with everything: the footage, the melted canisters, the HOA meeting minutes where Karen literally suggested bringing attention to fire hazards on my property. Rick testified that she'd told the board if they pushed hard enough, I'd either sell or snap. The judge didn't buy her excuses. Damages awarded to me $147,200. HOA ordered to cease all enforcement actions against my land. Karen ordered to stand trial on felony arson, property destruction, trespassing, even HOA fund misuse. Her face in that moment, frozen pale, broken, that was the real victory. Karen lost her position, then her house, then whatever grip she thought she had on this neighborhood. The board crumbled under audits and resignations, their power eaten alive by the very flames they tried to aim at me. I didn't cheer. I didn't gloat. I just stood at the edge of my field boots in the ash, knowing the war was finally over. Because the truth about fire is simple, it never lies. Lesson: bullies may think they hold all the power, but the moment you stop being afraid, their empire burns faster than dry corn in August.